As a massive fan of classic horror movies from the 50s, 60s, and 70s, it was very interesting to me whenever Hammer first announced and started rolling out their big, massive collector's box sets of their classic movies from their 50s, 60s, and 70s catalogue. However, I was one of those people that had a bit of a stick up their ass about AI restorations being used within their releases. However, I did have a change of heart about this and ended up buying Cry of the Banshee and Crucible of Horror on the Hammer Presents Blu-ray range, which I was very impressed by, generally speaking. And the reason why I had this change of heart is because I believe it was earlier this year or late last year, they made a pretty big announcement that they had acquired the rights to some very rare and obscure Peter Cushing movies, which are pretty much impossible to get on physical media. I think only one of the four that I'm about to mention has had a UK DVD or Blu-ray release, and that particular one is selling for crazy money on the aftermarket because there was disputes over the ownership of the movie after it was released on DVD, and then that release had to be withdrawn, something like that. Those movies in question are The Creeping Flesh, which is the one I just mentioned, The Ghoul, Legend of the Werewolf, and Sherlock Holmes Masks of Death, I think that one is called. Basically 4 ultra rare and obscure Peter Cushing movies that haven't had their day on physical media getting announced as being claimed in terms of rights by Hammer, and in turn alluding to the likelihood that they will be released on Blu-ray in the future, made me think again about not buying these Hammer restorations and Blu-rays, and decided to give them a chance with these 2 releases here. Purely because, if you couldn't tell, Mr. Peter Cushing is my favourite actor of all time. So to have these 4 ultra rare and obscure Peter Cushing movies on physical media for pretty much the first time ever they've been released on, so would just be an absolute treat for me, and I decided to bite the bullet and finally pulled a stick out of my ass about AI restorations and finally decided to get into Hammer's new Blu-ray output. And then that's when I made a realisation with Hammer Blu-rays and what have you, and me finally starting to collect and buy these new issues from this company, is that one particular one I just simply could not pass up the opportunity for getting the 4K Ultra Deluxe Edition, which is what I shall be unboxing today. And that is, of course, their Kahuna box set of the Curse of Frankenstein, which has 2 4K Blu-ray UHD discs and 4 Blu-ray HD discs. Just to put into perspective how extensive of a box set this is, the overall runtime for this box set here is almost 11 times as long as the main feature film itself. Yeah, this is an absolutely packed box set. So let's open it up and take a look to see what we have on the inside. So on the box itself, we have this little piece of card that just comes away. This is a Hammer restoration, a John Gore Studios company, 4K Ultra HD, Blu-ray disc 15. "You must destroy this thing now! Paul, don't you see? I've succeeded." And then on the back part of it, we just have technical details and runtime and various things like that. 15 suitable only for persons of 15 or over, not to be supplied to anyone under that age. And then for the main box itself now, whenever I bought my copy in HMV, I did notice some damage to it, like you might be able to see little mark there and kind of a smaller one there and a couple here and there, which was from a security tag that was on my box set. Now, in turn, because of this, I thought this little piece here was a bit of damage from the security tag. However, upon watching a YouTube video unboxing of this particular box set, which I believe was by a channel called Hammer Horror Films, it would appear that there is kind of a flaked pattern that isn't definitive across the box sets. Take note of the E on mine within Frankenstein and the RS on their particular copy. So then for the front of the box without the card, which has a really nice kind of feel to it, Hammer trademark, the Curse of Frankenstein. And then we have the spine, Hammer logo, the Curse of Frankenstein. And we have the back of the set, which is just Hammer trademark, a John Gore Studios company. So then taking the main box, which houses all of the contents out, we have the new artwork for the movie. That is the cover art for the standard edition there, which looks absolutely amazing. And then we have the spine of that, which is the same on the outer box, just not in foil. And then we have, I think, some poster art from the movie there, which looks absolutely fantastic. Disembodied head of Christopher Lee looks absolutely incredible. And then we have all of the contents of this box set here. So then taking the main digipack of discs out, we have this amazing artwork of Baron Frankenstein as played by Peter Cushing, confronting the monster, of course played by Christopher Lee. And I think this does open up to reveal more artwork, or an extension of the artwork rather, and more characters from within the movie. And a couple set pieces here and there. So then here we have the first disc of the box set, which is the first of the two 4K discs. This contains the widescreen UK theatrical version and the full screen as filmed version, with bonus features on this disc listed here. We then have the second and final 4K disc here, which contains the widescreen US theatrical version of the movie, with special features of this disc listed behind it. We then have the first of 4 Blu-ray discs, which contains the widescreen UK theatrical version and then the full screen as filmed version, with the special features on it listed behind. We then have the second Blu-ray disc, which contains the widescreen US theatrical version of the film with the special features listed there. We then have the fifth disc and the third Blu-ray disc, which is special features on Blu-ray. And then we have the sixth and final disc in this box set, the fourth Blu-ray disc, which is more special features. Now, the interesting part to this particular disc is that this is exclusive to the box set. What this has on it as its main kind of bonus feature is Flesh and Blood. This was originally a two-part BBC TV documentary from 1994 and ran for an hour and 40 minutes. This here is a 2.5 hour director's cut of that particular documentary and extras in regards to this particular documentary. It was recorded close to the death of contributor Peter Cushing, who I believe was interviewed and lended some narration to the documentary, and Christopher Lee did the same thing as well, but would pass away much later. I believe this was the last thing Peter Cushing recorded and did in regards to Hammer films before he passed away. It was either that or a episode of the Hammer House of Horror television series, but I think that was a bit earlier than this particular documentary. There's also the Tales of Frankenstein oddity on this disc as well in Blu-ray. I think how this goes is that the distributor of this movie saw success in the movie and wanted to try and make a television series in the wake of this particular film, and never got past the pilot stage, and this is the pilot presented here on Blu-ray with an audio commentary on it, and then it also has a documentary about the making of it as well. The Flesh and Blood contents contains more stuff to do with Mr. Cushing and Christopher Lee, and also has outtakes from the documentary. As well as all of the discs that come in this box set, we have many physical extras that come with it as well, in the form of books, posters, and art cards. The first book is this, titled The Books of Frankenstein Volume 1, which is a collection of essays in regards to the movie, both new and old. This is a loathsome story, and I regret that it should come from a British team. BBFC Examiner, October 1956. A cinema sensation, The Curse of Frankenstein single-handedly revived the horror genre and brought Hammer to the attention of a worldwide audience eager for more. Almost overnight, Peter Cushing became world famous as the maniacal surgeon intent on creating life from death, and Christopher Lee's portrayal of the creature would be the only one ever powerful enough to rival Karloff's. Making its worldwide debut on ultra-high definition, this classic British horror has been painstakingly restored by Hammer in 4K from the best existing film elements, creating the definitive viewing experience of this legendary feature. After years of intense study, Victor Frankenstein brings a dead animal back to life through the power of science. Overawed with success, he decides that he must now build the perfect human being from body parts. Hammer, a John Gore Studios company. And then we have the beginning of the book here, which totals to 165 pages. And then we have the contents of the book here, with all of the titles on the various essays and contents that are within this box set. Interestingly, we then have this picture from the movie on the next page. This is a particular scene in which Frankenstein dissolves a unwanted head in acid, which I have heard was quite a gruesome scene, and it was ultimately cut from the movie and is ultimately a piece of lost media as far as I'm aware. So this just goes through various essays and other bits and pieces and interviews to do with the movie, with various images and what have you scattered throughout it. And then there you have a presentation of the new cover artwork that was commissioned for this box set here, with a thank you at the back of it there. The second book that comes in the box set is this here, The Curse of Frankenstein, the horror classic as a graphic novel. Des Skin's The House of Hammer magazine debuted in October 1976, thrilling and traumatizing a generation of young readers in equal measure, adapting classic Hammer stories in comic strip form at a time when these films were largely unavailable on cinema and television. This Eagle Award-winning publication is fondly remembered to this day. The Curse of Frankenstein was adapted by Don Avenell across issues 2 and 3 and featured artwork from Spanish artist Alberto Suyas, who would later work on the comic strip version of The Gorgon. As with several of these strips, the story diverges from the original screenplay, with this adaptation using John Burke's novelization from Pan's The Hammer Horror Omnibus book as its source text. The strip artwork for both stories was scanned and reformatted several years ago to digest size for a project that never happened. It is presented here for the first time. And there is a cover of the original magazine, I imagine. Alongside the two books, we have some replica cinema lobby cards as well as a double-sided poster. These replica cinema lobby cards are on very high quality cardstock, and the pictures as well are of good quality. Particularly like this one here of Cushing and a skeleton. Nice one there of Christopher Lee as the creature. And there's one there with a slightly blurry Christopher Lee. All of these cards are individually numbered as well, as you can see. And so then for the double-sided replica poster that comes with the box set, here is one side of it, and here is the other side of it. Again, very, very high quality, and it looks absolutely fantastic. And so that concludes my unboxing and overview of Hammer's Ultra Deluxe edition of The Curse of Frankenstein on 4K. Absolutely amazing box set, and it is an absolute jewel in my collection for somebody whose favourite actor of all time is Mr. Peter Cushing. I personally don't have any intentions at the moment for reviewing Hammer horror movies. However, I would like to do more unboxings of more of these box sets on the channel at some point soon, because there are a couple that have been announced and or teased that I would like to get for my collection and do videos on, such as this one. The two big ones for me are Dracula, which is supposedly coming out in October, and one that was recently announced but doesn't have a release date yet, I'm pretty sure, which is The Abominable Snowman, which I really look forward to getting. As I said, I don't have any intentions of reviewing Hammer's movies at this current point in time, but I would like to do more collection videos in regards to them, and I do think I will be reviewing some more obscure Peter Cushing movies such as Island of Terror and Night of the Big Heat, as well as Tygon films on this channel possibly. But yeah, so like, favorite, comment, subscribe. I hope you guys enjoyed this unboxing video on Hammer's Ultra Deluxe edition of The Curse of Frankenstein on 4K. So like, favorite, comment, subscribe. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. PitchSkullBlack, dematerializing.